Good morning. Well, I found a place to tent last night, but there were some other people there as well. So I had to be really quiet this morning. I got up extra early, as you can see, because well, first of all, I slept so much last night. I needed to. I'll bet I fell asleep at 6 o'clock. And I woke up around maybe 8 to eat dinner, and then I went back to sleep and woke up maybe around 4 this morning. And I'm just getting going. It's probably 5 o'clock now, and it's dark. But now back to what I'm doing. I got about 5 miles of downhill this morning, and I wanted to get a little bit further along with that, but the thing is, there's just nowhere to tent. And I had already gone almost 27 miles yesterday, and it's just rocky and steep. You might be able to kind of see a little bit in the light, but I mean, there's just nothing, nowhere down in here to tent. So anyway, I've got this 5 miles of downhill. Then I've got a lot of miles, 7, 8, 9, something of uphill, maybe close to 3,000 feet of climbing, which I don't expect to be super steep, but I do expect it to be exposed. And this climbing in the heat, out in these exposed areas where everything's burned up or you're above tree line or whatever, is just killing me. So I'm getting this going early. So I'm hoping by the time it gets light, I'm halfway to the bottom of this hill, and then I can really go fast to the rest of the bottom of the hill, to the very bottom, and then just start climbing. Start climbing, even if I wipe myself out, just climb while it's cool. Get all the way to the top of that dang thing. So then the rest of the day I can just take it easy and, make the miles I need to and stop a lot. There's tons and tons of water along the way, which would be refreshing since there hasn't been for quite a while. So that's my plan. And my phone's almost out of battery, and I'm still 3 or so days away from Timberline Lodge. So I'm going to turn my phone off. I'm probably not going to video as much these next 3 days, but I'll flip it on, do something every once in a while. All right, it's brightened up, and I made it down to the bottom just a bit ago. There's this creek down there. Probably can't see. I don't know if you can hear it or not. But anyway, I didn't get any water there because I didn't want to carry it up this big climb. But there's lots of water up the climb, so when I run out, I'll get the water. It's actually surprisingly warm already today. It didn't get very cold last night. I was all prepared in case it was super freezing again, but it wasn't bad at all. And this morning it's humid and it's not hot by any means, but it's not cold. And so, yeah, I'm glad I got a start on this. Hoping that I can get up this mountain. Maybe it's not too exposed for a while before it gets really hot. Okay, I'm gonna shut my phone off again. I'll get back on later in video when I need to check for water. I had to turn the phone on to show you this. This river coming from up there, coming down underneath this snow bridge, and it goes all the way down this canyon and out the other side. Really amazing. And I have to walk across this to get over to the other side. So that's where I came from. I'll go up here and maybe I'll video more when I get up higher. Here I am up the other side. You can see. And there's a guy that I just crossed paths with who's gonna walk across it right now. It seems a little stressful going across, but I mean, really, it is like really solid and very thick, as long as you stay away from the edges. Wow. All right. I have spent most of the day so far starting way over there and doing a circle around Mount Jefferson. Not a circle, maybe a semicircle. So about halfway around this side, that whole valley that you see down there, I went through. And of course, all these mountains climbing and a whole bunch of climbing behind back there. And I still have a bunch more to do. But I wanted to turn my phone on and get this image as about as good as it's going to get. And in a little while, I should be getting over top of something and be able to see Mount Hood, but I probably won't video it today. I'll probably wait till we get a little closer. Anyway, beautiful. Lots of just crossed dozen streams and past a dozen lakes, and I saw this raging creek that had water that was literally as white as milk. And it was pretty amazing. And the climb's been relatively moderate, but I mean in levelness and incline, but there've been a lot of rocks and boulders and sand, and it's going on forever and ever and ever. But it's good, and the temperature stayed pretty good, and there's even clouds now blocking out the sun, so we couldn't ask for much more. Been seeing lots of snow, walking past lots of snow. I think this is my 5th snow crossing now. I can't believe how much there is up here. I just finished having lunch. I'm realizing now that I'm doing more miles that I really have to stop and take a prolonged lunch break. A little bit of a lunch and a long break. It does wonders. If I can close my eyes for a few minutes, I mean really just a few minutes, take my shoes off, get my feet out, straight, my legs out straight in front of me, and just eat a whole bunch, it really helps to get my energy back. So anyway, doing that, now I'm off. I've got another 10 miles or so to do. I just crossed a southbounder, which, by the way, I'm crossing a lot of southbounders now. So people that do PCT from north to south have to start much later, because they can't even get into Washington until the snow starts to melt. And so apparently now is about the time they're getting here, but just crossing, several a day, at least several. But anyway, this guy told me there's one of those lake resorts up here, like I've been seeing, like we were seeing a little while back. And he said it's like 200 yards off the trail, and they've got, food and drinks and resupply and all this stuff. And I don't know, I just took this long lunch. I've got 10 miles to do. This resort place is about 5 miles. So if right now the sun's behind the clouds, it feels good. But when I first took off, the sun was out and it was scorching. So right now I'm thinking I'm not going to stop there. What's the point? I don't need anything. I don't need to waste my money, all that. Just get where I'm going, get in there, get to bed. A long sleep really helps me the next day and do more miles. So that's my plan. But if it gets hotter or I get wimpier, I might just stop. Yeah, we'll see what I do. Not positive. Wow, look at that over there. Okay, well, I'm here at this little resort area. You can see there's a few people out on the lake. I don't know if you can see that or not. Anyway, it's like 90 degrees out here, and the sun is full of force. And I'm here about 15 minutes early, so those are all good reasons why I should stop. So I'm going to. And the other reason, I'm gonna go in and get a Coke or something. The other reason is it dawned on me while I'm in there, since I have a low battery, maybe I can charge my phone for a few minutes. So there's another good reason. All right. All right, well, I had a Coke and a moon pie and some Good and Plenty's. Nothing that I needed, but just packing on the calories. And it's cooled off a little tiny bit, like tiny bit, maybe 5 degrees. So I thought I'd just come out here to the lake and take a quick video. Breeze is still blowing, about ready to head out. So get to camp as soon as I can, about 5 more miles. All right, just getting back on the trail. That was fun. That little store actually had a lot of great stuff in it, but I just had snacks and things. But it was nice to sit there in the shade on the front porch instead of being out here cooking. It really got hot. It was perfect timing. And there were a few hikers there. There was well, I didn't get to know him that well, but there was a guy from Australia, Mick, who was super nice guy. We talked kind of philosophical for a while, and then his buddy from Australia was there, and his, I guess, girlfriend or whoever he's with from the Netherlands, and they were really nice. And another woman walked in. I don't really know her name. And then a little later, a couple showed up that's just from around here. I don't know, somewhere close. They were just section hiking today. I'd passed them earlier, and they were real nice. You know, they were just right before I turned this video on there on the road. They were driving by in their car and playfully making fun of me because they're driving to their home to take showers and have a nice evening and go to sleep in their bed. And I hate them. No. All right, that little spot will do. Checked all around. There's no big dead trees that are close enough to land on me, so I'm gonna call it a night right here. See you tomorrow. Good morning. Getting an early start again, but not nearly as early as yesterday. Probably 45 minutes later. I won't need this headlamp for more than just 15 minutes, or maybe not even if I get out of the woods. So, had a pretty good night's sleep. Not as good as the night before, but good enough. And yeah, today, no 3,000 foot climbs. Bunch of up and down, so you know, there'll be plenty of hard stuff, but shouldn't be as prolonged as yesterday. And so, yeah, just gonna tool along here, see how far I can get. Plan is to get into Timberline Lodge tomorrow, where I'm gonna take my zero, be the first actual zero in a long time. Maybe I'll talk about that later. You know, maybe even a month, but anyway, so I really need to do maybe 27 miles today to be able to get into Timberline Lodge in time tomorrow. So if you don't get there in time, then you can't get a box, you can't catch the bus into the town of government camp and stuff like that. So, but if I can, you know, the closer I can get today, the easier tomorrow's going to be. So we'll see, since I'm going to be taking a zero soon. If I'm doing okay today and it doesn't end up being 180 degrees out, I might try to, I can see it's lighter out here already. I might try to do a few extra miles today, do 30 or something like that. We'll see. Well, I wish I would have thought to video it at the time, but just a little while back, I saw my first mile marker somebody had made in rocks for the southbounders. So of course people are hiking this southbound as well, and I've talked about crossing paths with them, but I just saw a marker for 600 miles southbound. I thought, how cool, you know, doesn't mean anything to me. Then all of a sudden it dawned on me, it means I got 600 miles to go to the border. So that's kind of cool to be able to sort of tick that off in my mind without having to calculate as I'm going along. So 600 miles. There is one closure in Washington that, well, there's a couple of closures. One of them has kind of a workaround, and so I can take the side trail and get around it. And then there's another wildfire closure that there is no workaround for, so I'll have to figure that out. But so anyway, I probably won't actually be doing 600 walking miles from here to the border, but that's how far it is anyway. And then once I get to the border, I think I've already told you my plan, at least at this point, is to turn around and start heading south, trying to pick off these wildfire sections. You know, if they've been cleared out, then just walk the trail. If not, then figure out some other way to get around them. So we'll deal with that in 600 miles. There are huckleberries everywhere through this section. I'm just seeing them constantly under there. I mean, they are all over. There's some more. They're just everywhere. And yeah, they're delicious. If you haven't had huckleberries before, they are, well, they look pretty much just like a blueberry, but they taste a bit like a blueberry. A little bit of a grape flavor to them maybe as well. But they're delicious. And yeah, if I wasn't in such a hurry, I'd just hang out here. Or, you know, I wouldn't get anywhere. Yesterday there were a million. I'd just be wandering along eating these by the handfuls. But I probably won't had 20 or 30 total. Just every once in a while there's one like right in my face, and I'll just grab it. But pretty much I'm just ignoring them and going. But they're good. I tell you what, I have only hiked about an hour and a half so far today. And I started climbing just a little tiny bit, and then I started ascending just a little bit, and mostly it's been flat. But I have walked into an area that is cold, like way cold. It's probably 15, probably 20 degrees maybe colder than it was where I slept last night, or where I started this morning. And I've been hiking for an hour and a half, you know, which means my body temperature's up, but it's cold. And I just saw a southbounder, you know, obviously coming towards me. He had a puffy jacket on with the hood up, long pants on, and gloves, and he goes, "You must have started way before me. I'm still freezing." I said, "Man, it's freezing in here. You know, you can go a couple miles, you know, south, and you'll be way warmer." He goes, "Oh, good." So anyway, I'm glad it's cold. You know, in fact, there's a water source coming up here in just a tenth or two, and I'm just gonna skip it. I got almost a liter, and I am well hydrated. The next water source isn't for about 7.5 miles, but man, at this temperature, I'll be just fine. I mean, there definitely won't be any sweating going on. Well, I don't generally check the map for all sorts of things other than, you know, water and where I'm going to sleep or whatever. Why I didn't know that resort was there yesterday until that guy told me. But something must be up here, some road or something, because in the last, I don't know, hour or so, probably 10 people have passed me, coming at me. All really clean, carrying big packs and whatever. So I think they're, you know, they're people that are just out for, you know, a couple days or something like that. So yeah, sign of civilization. But I don't know what's around. Probably just walk through a parking lot real quick or something. Well, it's 10 o'clock. I'm almost to the river up here where I'm going to get some water. And almost the entire day so far has been hiking in the woods, in the canopy, in the shade. It's been wonderful. had about 300 or 4, maybe 200 or 300 yard stretch where there was a bunch of burned out trees and it was super hot. But it didn't last long, so that's good. And here's the river. Well, this really sucks. I dropped my hat. And I don't know how far back I dropped it, so I'm walking backwards on the stinking trail. There was a guy behind me. I'm hoping he picked it up knowing it was mine, but I doubt it. I hope I don't have to walk back too far. Alright, I found it. It's back there. I only had to run backwards about 5 minutes. So dumb. I don't even know how I did that. I put it on top of my head, and then when I'm not using it, I just throw it back, and it just hangs back there, or falls around to the front like it's doing right now. But every once in a while, it gets turned around, and I've thought to myself that I could throw it off the back, and it would just go off because now it's turned around. It's not hanging on my neck anymore. So anyway, thank goodness it's only 5 minutes. I gotta walk uphill another 5 minutes. Mount Hood, here I come. Well, I came out of the woods right back there where that sign is, and that vehicle was sitting there with a big canopy, and they had a cooler of drinks out. Well, actually, they were putting their cooler of drinks away, and they had just run out of hamburgers, which is really good because I had lunch like an hour and a half ago. I do not need a hamburger. I wouldn't have had one anyway, probably. But what a nice surprise to get a Coke, and they were packing up, so I talked to a few other hikers there, and now I'm heading on. So a whole bunch of the hikers back there were Sobo, meaning southbound, and but two of them, Ash and Chinook, are going this way. Ash he's been right behind me for the past couple of hours, coming into there, and Chinook went by earlier when I was having lunch. So I don't really know either one of them, but I'll be hiking with them for a few days probably in the same stream. And then it was kind of fun. There was a tall gentleman there. His name escapes me now. Anders. His name is Anders. From Denmark. And he was there with his family. So him and his wife and son and daughter, his 14-year-old son who's like 6'2", and younger daughter there, and he's been hiking the PCT all of Washington, and working his way into Oregon, and they just came out at Cascade Locks, which is right on the border of Washington and Oregon, and they've been hiking with him from Cascade Locks down here, which is probably, I don't know, that'll be about 3 days, 3.5 days for what I'm doing, just to give some idea how far away it is. Anyway, it's kind of cool. So I sat and I talked with him for a short bit, and then his family came over and I talked with them a little bit. And the daughter does not speak English, but I was teasing her and they were translating. So anyway, fun that they came out as a family, kind of helping Dad out, Well, that is Timothy Lake, and it's just the beginning of it. Beautiful. And it's very large. In fact, so large that I am going to head down this trail And in 3.7 miles, I will be at the far end of it where I'm going to tent tonight, most likely. So, time to get going. Good morning. I found one of the designated PCT camp spots last night. Hung out there, got set up, and then one by one, lots of other people joined me. I don't know, there were probably 8 of us there last night. Kind of shoehorned into this little site. I did not sleep very well, but here I am bright and early. It's about 5 o'clock. It'll be dark for another, 30, 45 minutes maybe. But I've got a little over 19 miles to do to get into Timberline Lodge, town of government camp. And the last several miles of it, I can't remember, 4 to 6 miles, are a couple 1,000-foot climb. So by then it'll be, close to noon, and I'll be climbing that thing in the heat. And so anyway, I just wanted to get a good early start. I figure if I'm super tired, so what, I'll be staying somewhere in town tonight and I can relax, sleep, whatever I need to do. So there's tons and tons to do in town this time. I've got packages to pick up at a couple different places, things to ship out, plans to make. I found out there are new fires in Washington I gotta work around. And I don't know, a few little bills and things that came from home that I gotta figure out, and just be a whole bunch of stuff to do. So I just want to get in there as quick as possible, start getting things done, make my plans to get out, get on to Cascade Locks, which is the border of Oregon and Washington. Woohoo! Well, I'm just coming out of the trees for the first time in a couple of days, and there is Mount Hood. Yeah. Pretty cool. And down below, I'm sure you can't hear it, but I can hear the highway. And I don't remember what highway it is, but it's the highway that goes into government camp. And that's the little town I'll be going to later today. But first of all, I have to come down and climb up somewhere. I don't know which one of these mountains I'm climbing up, but I'm going to cross the highway and climb up here. And that's where Timberline Lodge is. And then the trail, that's where I'll get off trail and take a zero. But then, the trail just continues on through those mountains over there. So I'll have to get back up there, take a bus back up there from government camp in a couple of days and get back on trail and go. Some people are just going down to that highway today and just getting off there and like hitching into town. They don't want to have to do that climb yet. But I'm just going to get it out of the way, And plus I have a box at Timberline Lodge anyway, so I have to go there to get it. So, all right, well, I just looked on the map and I was kind of wrong. Apparently there's a trailhead down here in a parking lot and a different highway. And of course the highways all connect. You could get into government camp that way, but that's not the main highway so I'll go down past this highway, this parking lot, and then go another 5 miles and hit the main highway that goes into government camp. And then go another 5 miles up the mountain, and that's where Timberline Lodge will be. So I'm close to 11 miles away from my destination still. But hey, it's approaching halfway for the day. Okay, I've been climbing this nice trail now from the highway for a while. This is obviously, a little different than the regular PCT. They've got it groomed and nice for everybody. And that's because it's bringing us up to the Mount Hood Wilderness. So, anyway, continue on. I expect it to get maybe a little rougher now. I'm walking along here thinking about the box I'm gonna get and being really excited about new shoes. It seems like I just got new shoes not that long ago, but it's been over 400 miles, and these shoes, especially the left one, I don't know what it is about the left, something about how I walk or something about the structure of my foot, but the left one just feels flattened out. And both of them, when I step on rocks or walk around things, it's back to feeling like I'm wearing slippers again. And just broken down. And the right one, it had some kind of, I haven't mentioned this yet, but it has some kind of problem down in the sole, kind of on the outside of the ball of the foot. There's a little indentation on the inside of the shoe. It's hard to explain, but anyway, you can see it's obviously, something that was made incorrectly. And it pushes on on one of the bones in my foot, the kind of the ball of my foot, and it's been sore for a couple 3 weeks now. Yeah, so can't wait to get another shoe. I haven't had any Ultra Olympuses that have had that problem before, so I'm assuming my next pair will be fine. But anyway, excited to get some new food, different kind of food than what I've been eating lately, and yeah, just be good to get back on the trail and have nice new shoes and new food. I just walked by a guy back there who was sitting on the side taking a break, eating a snack, and he said, "Hey, we met each other before." And I'm like, "I don't know." I was thinking, nope, don't know him for sure. Got me mixed up. I told him my trail name. He goes, "Yeah, Maximus." He goes, "My brother's Grizzly." We saw each other, and then all of a sudden it dawned on me that I did see him. There's this big long stretch, I don't know if you remember from the videos, but this big long, like wide open exposed stretch of just kind of valley, almost meadow, but it was really rocky and stuff, and it was down below the Three Sisters Mountains. And I was going along, and you're just walking forever and ever. You can see 2 miles ahead, 3 miles ahead, and I came across these two guys, and they're two brothers, and just talked to them just real briefly. And anyway, he has been at the PCT for 5 years. Maybe this is his 5th year, and just doing different pieces. And he's got pretty much everything from here down to Mexico, connected. He's done everything, and he's now just working north. He said his wife's about ready for him to be done doing this, so he's going to try to finish it up this year. So anyway, we talked a little bit about some of the fire closures, and he's like, I've been doing this long enough that if there's a couple parts up here that I can't do because of fire, if they're not anything exceptional, they're just little kind of connector areas in the middle or something, he goes, I'm not going to worry about it. That's good enough for me. So anyway, he's also coming up to Timberline Lodge, and gonna meet some old friends and hang out for a night and head off tomorrow. So he'll be ahead of me. So I think he's moving slower, and so when I get out in a couple of days, maybe I'll catch him before I get to Cascade Locks in Washington, and get to say hey. All right, finally at our second highway. So ready to I guess do this 5-mile climb that is about 2,000 feet. So yippee. Okay, Timberline Lodge, here I come. About 1.5 miles away. There's Mount Hood. All right, that looks like where I'm heading to. There's a lot of people there too. Should I work my way around?